He has founded 2 organizations which have been benefiting people. He is a clinical psychologist. He assists people in coming up to their full potential. And he's also a national award winner for all the activities that he's been doing in this space. So Divyanshu, floor is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here. And yeah, Raghu mentioned that I'm a pilot. Yes, I happen to be a pilot. I fly non-powered aircrafts. And to be very, very honest, standing here right now in front of you is more scarier than flying a plane. So let me ask you a question. How many aircraft accidents happen each year? Very few? Around the world? That's very, very few, right? Millions of flights take off every year, right? And not every accident there's a fatality, right? So very, very few. How many road accidents happen each year? Millions of people die in road accidents every year? You guys drive? Every day? So who's taking more risk, me or you? So who's more inspirational, me or you? And I don't fly every day, you drive every day, right? But you don't see that as doing something that is inspirational, right? And that is simply because we're trained to see things a certain way. We're trained to see things, think about things, perceive this world in a certain way. If tomorrow thousands of blind people like me start flying, then it wouldn't be an exception, right? If thousands of blind people like me take to flying, it wouldn't remain an exception. This looks like one simply because I happen to be the only one. But the real story actually started about 19 years ago when I woke up blind one day, just out of the blue. I was 19 years old. Exactly half my life I've spent seeing and half my life I've spent blind. When I woke up blind that day, there was one interesting truth that I learned, that I'd only heard about blind people. I did not know any single blind person. I just knew they existed somewhere. And yes, there are blind people who kind of make a living and they live life and all of that. But I didn't know anybody. So what do? I thought I'll go to a rehab and learn the ways of the blind, learn how to live, learn how to live independently, learn how to stand on my feet. And when I go to the rehab center, the first thing I'm stripped of is my dignity. It is a very premier rehab center, and yet the way they treated people like me who had just gone blind was inhuman. A lot of them were from very poor backgrounds, economically disadvantaged, and we all were shoved into a room, and that room stinked. It had this awful smell, and I'm like, I've lost my sight, my nose is working overtime, do you mind? And the way we were given food was chapatis were thrown at us. The rule was simple. If you can grab them, you can eat them. I said, that's no way. That's no way to treat somebody, no matter what. And then I went for counseling. You all heard those terms, no? Counseling. Counseling means, in effect, to take advice. And all these bigwigs sitting on the table giving me advice. And the first advice they gave me was, you have to accept reality. I'm like, okay, what is that? You've got to accept you're blind. I'm like, excellent, lovely, yeah. I think we've gotten ahead from there. And then they say, I'm like, great, now what are you going to do for the next 6 months? How are you going to use my time here? What are you going to teach me so that I can go back out there and live on my own, make a living? And they said, yes, we will talk about that. We have a special course for you. We're going to teach you how to make chalk and cane furniture. And I'm like, who's using chalk? Nobody's going to be using chalk anymore. That's a bust business, no point. And as for cane furniture, nothing wrong with it. It's just that back then Neil Kamal had just made an entry. And I'm like, you guys heard of Neil Kamal? They're going to be taking over. Plastic furniture is the future. Nobody's going to be using cane furniture. So is there something better you can offer me? There's nothing wrong with this, but can you offer me something that's more sustainable? And they're like, yes. And there was a lot of talking between them, and they said, yes, we have a course for you. We're going to teach you how to become a telephone operator. I'm like, 6 months? Really? I already know how to dial a number and say hello. What are you going to teach me for 6 months? I'm like, there must be something better, right? Something better. And what was hot about 20 years ago? Really hot? It's still hot. IT, absolutely. So I asked them, why not computers? Everybody's talking about it. Why can't I do something in computers? And they're looking looking at me like I've lost my mind. They're like, the mental rehab is next door. They're like, how are you going to use the computer? You're blind. I'm like, yeah, slight problem. I don't know, but we'll figure it out, right? And they said, you can't do anything in it. You can't see the computers. How can you use them? So what do I do now? I want to learn computers. I'm blind. I can't see the screen at all. There's nobody to teach me. There's no institute catering to teaching computers to the blind. There are no screen readers. There's nothing. How do I learn? If this was you, what would you do? What options, what choices do you have? I had two choices, right? Accept what they said, become a telephone operator. And the other option was wanting to learn computers. But all these other constraints were there. Well, interestingly, you forget, I was the only one who had gone blind, right? All my other people, all my other friends were still sighted, right? Grab him, make him sit beside you, and make them read the screen. If nobody is there to teach you, you can teach yourself, right? So that's what I did. Grab them and make them read. And that's how I learned, keystroke by keystroke, literally by-hearted every damn keystroke. You make a mistake, you start all over again. I got my first break with data per information technologies, and then worked with CDAC and worked with ETH DishNet and VSNL, and was very, very fortunate to be part of the team that brought internet to India. So all you WhatsApp users have something to be happy and thankful to me for. And that was the most interesting time, because we were developing policies, we were developing information technology so that people like me could use computers, could make a career in it. And I got into artificial intelligence and core computing, where we start making computers do things that the human brain does. And when you're programming the computer to do what the human brain does, that's when I realized the immense power and potential that a human brain has. What we take so granted, what we take so much for granted is extremely complex. And I fell in love. I fell in love for the first time, like I've never ever felt in love before. And I wanted to study the brain. So, well, I thought, I spent quite a few years in computers, and I think I'm done. And I want to study the brain. That should be easy, right? To go to college. That shouldn't be a problem. You guys went to college? All of you? Did you have any problems? Not really, right? I thought, what can there be now? I just give the entrance, I clear the entrance, get my merit, and get into the college. Straightforward. But guess what? They said, we have a rule. Blind people can't do this course. It's science, apparatus, experiments, how will you work with patients, blah, blah, blah. We have a rule. Blind people cannot do this course. And I'm like, really? अगर rule दिखा सकते हो तो rule है. अगर rule दिखा नहीं सकते तो rule है ही नहीं. और rule दिखाते हो तो हम change करेंगे. और रूल दिखा नहीं सकते तो रूल है नहीं, मुझे एडमिशन देना पड़ेगा. और कई बार ना सिर्फ एक नोटिस ड्राफ्ट करके भेजा ना कॉलेज को तो बहुत डर जाते, लीगल एक्शन. So I drafted one notice at home only, made it sound very legal, put some of the clauses that I could find on the internet and sent it off to them. And guess what? I got my admission. But that was the easy part. When I went for post-graduation, things became really ugly. Phenomenally ugly. Half the staff wanted me there, the other half did not want me there. तो वो सुबह से लेके शाम तक मुझे ह्यूमिलेट करते थे कि तुम कुछ नहीं बन सकते. You're blind. You're not, it's not something you should do. You can't work with patients. You can't work in a hospital setting. They would draw scatter diagrams on the board and say, Divyanshu, what is the scatter? I'm like, give me the scatter, I'll give you the solution. They're like, you're blind. I'm like, yeah, not my problem. Get out. Ah, no problem. It's better outside than inside actually. And I get to hear the same thing. And there was not a single book that was accessible, not one textbook that was readily accessible. I had to work 4 times as hard simply to keep up. Because the rule I had for myself was simple: don't bring your disability as an excuse ever. तो शाम को 5 बजे असाइनमेंट्स मिलते थे, सुबह 7 बजे कंप्लीट करके असाइनमेंट सबमिट करने होते हैं, लेकिन कोई भी किताब मैं पढ़ नहीं सकता था. तो मुझे वो किताब स्कैन करके उसको पहले इमेज में कन्वर्ट करना था, उसके बाद में उसे टेक्स्ट में कन्वर्ट करना, उसके बाद में वो पढ़ना, उसके बाद में उसमें से नोट्स निकाल के असाइनमेंट कंप्लीट करना और सुबह 7 बजे वो असाइनमेंट सबमिट करना. तो जो बाकी लोग 1-2 घंटे में कर सकते थे, मुझे उसी काम के लिए 10 घंटे लगते थे. The only thing that kept me going was, if I fail in this, they have something to say. And don't bring your disability as an excuse ever. So do you think it's my disability that has caused the problem, or is this disability created? Is this my disability, my handicap, which is because of my blindness, or is it because of the way the world that we live in, we have created? Think about it. Lots of the barriers that we create are socially created, and disability hence is a social construct. If my books were accessible, would my education be a problem? it wouldn't be a problem. So it did not come from my blindness per se. Around the same time, I've always been in adventure sports, I've always been in sports from childhood, and when I went blind, that was the first thing that I had to let go of for a while, because everybody said, you're blind, how can you do these adventure sports? How can you do all these mountaineering and trekking and climbing and all of this? And back then the adventure was trying to put paste on the toothbrush. So climbing a mountain did take a back seat. But after years of working in this industry, I was like, I need to get back to sport. I need to do what I love doing. And one of the dreams I had as a child, and I always had that dream, was to fly. I'm sure every one of you here has looked up to the sky someday and wondered what it would be like to fly. Every one of us. And why haven't you? And that dream stayed. Blindness was just something that happened along the way. I thought, well, let me go ask a few flying instructors and it should be easy. We'll figure out a way around it. And it took me 7 years. 7 years to find a flying instructor who would believe. So in the process, I not just became a pilot, I also became an expert at taking rejections. I practically would ask 3 instructors every single day. And they would be like, no way, you're blind. We'll take you for a joyride, yes, yes. I'm like, I don't want a joyride, that you can keep for yourself. I want to learn to fly by myself. तो ऑलमोस्ट इंडिया में ऐसा कोई फ्लाइंग इंस्ट्रक्टर बाकी बचा नहीं है जो मुझे जानता नहीं है, क्योंकि वो मुझे देखते और भागते, बोलते आ गया ये, अभी पूछेगा मुझे सिखाओगे, फिर दरवाजा बंद करते मैं विंडो में से अंदर आ जाता हूँ, बोलता वो जरा दरवाजा बंद था. So they know all of them know me, but it took me 7 years. Do you know how much it takes to learn how to fly? How many days or months or years? You can learn to fly in like 4 days. Flying is very, very easy. Aircrafts are designed to fly. But it takes you 7 years just to find an instructor. And while I'm flying, I have the best seat in the house, right? I have the best seat in the house. I get all the glory and the credit. What you don't see, and what you'll never see, is my team. There were 7 people on my team who ensured that I landed safely. But they don't get any credit. They're behind the scene. Sounds familiar from corporate life? And we crib and complain, right? ये तो मेरा आइडिया था, मेरा बॉस चुरा के लेके गया. या बोलते अरे बॉस ये तो मैंने आपको बताया था 2 दिन पहले, अभी आप मुझे मेरा आइडिया बता रहे हो. But we all strive and fight about those things, when these guys never even bother about that. And we talk about trust and trusting our teams and all of that. How many of you actually trust your teams to give your heart to them and know that you will come back safe and they will bring you back safe? I'm sure you've gone for some behavioral training programs and done blind walks, correct? And trust walks and trust falls. How many of you actually would trust your team to protect your heart? And interestingly, this team never gets a credit. But we do it together. And then I went on to climb mountains and Yes, I cycled from Manali to Khardungla recently. Again, something that people said, it's not possible. All the pro cyclists told me, 11-12 दिन लगेंगे, उससे कम में नहीं होगा. क्योंकि टैंडम साइकिल है, लंबी साइकिल है, 200 किलो वजन है, अपहिल है, पासेस है, ऑक्सीजन कम है, all kinds of things. I wanted to do it in 9 days. And interestingly, on the third day, the cycle chain broke, snapped, which is not very new. It happens. There is a simple 150 rupee magic lock that can fix your chain. The only slight hitch was that the captain, who was supposed to bring that magic lock from Pune, forgets it. Now what do you do? He's like, I'm sorry, I forgot. And you're in the boondocks, in the back of beyond, Kilong में कुछ वहाँ पे नहीं है, पूरे रूट में कोई लोग नहीं है. And our entire expedition now hinges on the fact that either we do something about it or this is over. Interestingly, our fortunes were favoring us. 2 kilometers away, there was the only cycling group we met en route, and they happened to have a magic lock, and we fixed it. And the 4th day morning, the first thing in the morning, absolutely in the first 10 minutes, the bottom bracket of the cycle came off, the frame broke. And when your frame breaks, there is pretty little you can do. There is no magic lock that can fix your frame. You need gas welding and all of that, and that's just not possible there. So when the bottom bracket came off, my captain was practically in tears. He said, this is over now. And I was like, it's not yet over. There are rocks here. Hammer it in. Just hammer it in. Let's see how much it goes. Right? And we hammered it in, and I'm like, let's just pedal and see where we go and see how far we go. We could have gone another kilometer, but that would mean that instead of ending and stopping, quitting at 200 kilometers, we would have ended at 201, right? So that's what we did. I said, hammer it in. We go another 15 minutes, the bottom bracket comes off again. I'm like, hammer it in again. And we go another 15 minutes, another couple of kilometers. And we did that for the next 5 days. Every 15 minutes. In the end, we stopped waiting to hammer it into the rock. We just started hammering it with our legs. Our legs were as big as a watermelon at the end of the ride, but we managed to complete it in 8 days, right to the top of Khardungla. Had we quit, we would have never seen the top, right? So that's what I do now. Promote adventure sports for persons with disability and able-bodied people together. The aim is simple, to get these two communities to mix and play together, to shatter stereotypes, to find out about each other, build empathy, and make this world a little bit better. Because these same people from the mainstream community are people like you, who hold influential positions, who can go back to your spheres, who can go back to the places you come from and make this world a little bit better. We've created hundreds of jobs because of this. People, CEOs, MDs, heads have gone back and hired persons with disability. Education institutes have opened their doors to persons with disability by making books and study materials accessible. Architects have promised building accessible infrastructure simply because now they realized that these are simple things they can do that's within their power. And all of this through play. So we work with cross disability, we work with paraplegics, we work with amputees, blind and deaf. We work with quadriplegics, and we run marathons, we do triathlons, we do scuba diving, we do swimming, we do mountain climbing. right up to summiting Mount Everest. We just had our amputee summit Mount Everest. He was 300 meters short of the summit, but that's okay. I'm glad he turned back. We do paragliding and, of course, tandem cycling, where now this August we'll have 10 blind riders and 2 amputee riders go right up to Khardungla, and 1 person in a wheelchair who will cycle from Manali to Khardungla. So that's the not-for-profit I run. I also work with corporates in leadership training and behavioral facilitation. I worked in pathology with people with brain injuries, with brain disorders, mental disorders. So that's what currently keeps me busy for about, 20 hours a day, every day. Yeah. So that's about me. And for me, it's more important to know what is it that you want to find out. It's more important for me. This is all just context. So I would love to hear from you what questions you have. Remember, no question is wrong. The only wrong question is the one you didn't ask. That's the only stupid question that you never asked.
Divyanshu, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes.
It's not even a fair one to ask.
No.
Anyway.
Yes.
You became blind at 19.
Yes.
I have a friend who actually became blind when she was an adult.
Mm-hmm.
And I've often wondered, would it have been better if you never knew what sight was like, and so you never knew what you missed? Or is it better that when people say blue, you have a faint memory maybe of what blue is, what green is? Right. So which one is it for you? Because losing sight is a huge thing.
It's a huge thing.
Huge thing.
Yes. So when I agree that when I lost my sight, it wasn't a day in the park. It was traumatic. It was extremely traumatic. I was depressed. I was sad. All of that. But today, if you ask me, then that would it have been better if you were born blind or you go blind? I feel I'm blessed because I lost my sight at 19. I can connect to the seeing world as well as this world. So it gives me an advantage. So when you say car, the Ferrari has not changed much. Right? I don't think it changed much. Has it changed much? No.
Not the one we are giving away anyway.
Yeah. Or when you say building, roughly, I know what the world looks like, so I'm able to connect better to people and this world, relate better. That's a distinct advantage I have. The other advantage which I have is also, had I been born blind, the truth is that touch is a taboo. I see this world through touch, right?
Yeah.
And touch in this country is a taboo. So I have friends who have trouble connecting with the world. I have friends who've never seen what the other gender looks like until the day they got married. And imagine the trauma they experienced the first night. It is not funny. It is not funny because we've grown up with normalizing how the other gender looks like. But if you've never seen one, you don't know what the other gender looks like, it can be traumatic, right? So I distinctly feel, I really definitely feel that being able to see for the first 19 years has given me quite a bit of advantage. The only thing I probably may have lost out on little bit, is a little bit of mobility. And that's all actually.
So one more follow-up question. I think, a lot of us, and especially a lot of us are soldiers here.
Right.
And, I think I can speak for many soldiers who have been in combat.
Right.
That I think the fear of a soldier of death is secondary to one of being incapacitated.
Right.
Right. Losing a leg, losing an arm.
Mm.
And I think somewhere losing eyesight would probably be right up there in terms of a loss, any human being. And I think that must have been possibly one of the toughest phases that you would have gone through personally. Those days that you today are, sort of
brushing aside. I'm sure it wasn't that easy at that point of time. I want to know what got you through that. I mean, I think there's a great lesson for all of us here. I'm not saying it more from a talk point of view, but from real life point of view, I think what are the greatest tragedies a human being could sort of undergo? One would obviously be loss of a very, very closely loved one.
Right.
The other would be the loss of something that we so take for granted, without which we can't, sort of move an inch. I'm sure none of us can move an inch, literally. And eyesight is something, I mean, I know it's a kind of a weird Hobson's choice, but if there was a choice to give up one thing in your, full physiology, I'm sure eyes would be the last one that anyone would let
That's
go.
right. That's right.
How did you go through that? I mean, how many weeks, months? What happened? I'm sure you must have thought of just ending it all at some point of time. How did you make it? What was your journey there?
Right. So, in fact, Raghu, the world research, this has been researched, and the biggest fear of majority of the people around the world is going blind. That's one of the biggest fears people have. And you're right about the fact that if you had a choice, then losing your sight would be the last one on the list. When I went blind, like I said, it was not easy, it was very traumatic. I was depressed, I was sitting in my pity pool, asking all kinds of questions like, why me? This is unfair. I did nothing wrong, I was a good person. This is not fair. And I was angry, depressed, sad, everything. And there were also good days sometimes when I would have those moments initially of like, okay, so it's okay now and I'll get by, all of that. So for months together I sat there, months together. And about 6 or 8 months later I realized that I have a choice actually. I have a choice to either sit here in my pity pool, मैं ऐसा ही रोता बैठूंगा और लोग मुझे सहानुभूति देते रहेंगे, लोग बोलेंगे अरे अरे बहुत बुरा हुआ और सब कुछ मुझे हाथ में मिलेगा, वहीं पे बैठे रहने का बस, या मेरे पास में क्या है, what is left, what I have lost my sight, yes, but I still have a lot of other things. I can look at that and ask myself, how can I use this wisely? How can I make the most of what I have rather than focusing on what I don't have? And that definitely helped. And then somebody told me this one sentence which I still remember. She said to me, दृष्टि गई तो क्या हुआ, दृष्टिकोण तो है. That stayed with me. And then I clearly remember this day, a friend of mine, he came, I was still in my pity pool, he's like, let's go for a walk. And I'm like, how insensitive. Don't you know I'm blind now? He's like, yes, you lost your sight, let's go for a walk, you need to use your feet, let's go. I'm like, okay, let's go. And I went for a walk with him. और वो मुझे बोला कि दिव्यांशु एक बात बताओ कि ये जो आंखें गई है तुम्हारी, ये नंबर लाइन पे अगर हम डालें 1 से लेके 10 तक कि 1 कुछ बुरा नहीं हुआ, एकदम नॉर्मल, कैजुअल, और 10 इज ऑफुल, टेरिबल, एकदम सबसे बुरी घटना, तो इस नंबर लाइन पे लूजिंग साइड कहाँ पे डालोगे? मैं बोला ऑफ कोर्स 10, अगर और से भी ज़्यादा बड़ा नंबर होगा तो वहाँ पे डालूंगा. बोला अच्छा अच्छा ठीक है, लेकिन मुझे बताओ कि क्या तुम उस सुबह जब उठे, when you woke up that day, you woke up blind, is it possible, क्या ये मुमकिन है कि आप सिर्फ didn't wake up blind but you also woke up blind and deaf? And if that happened, where would be on the number line? I said हाँ रे, possible तो है, अगर वो होता ना तो 30. फिर बोलता है blind, deaf, unable to talk. 60. Blind, deaf, unable to talk, unable to move. बोला 100. By this time my heart was really beating. And you know, he said something very interesting. He's like, don't worry, I won't kill you. बोलता है मार डालूंगा तो प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व. तो ऐसा करके मैं 100 पे बैठा था. बोला वो ओरिजिनल नंबर 10 पे क्या था आपका, वो अगर सब नंबर लाइन पे वापस डाले तो व्हाट हैपेंस टू योर ओरिजिनल ब्लाइंडनेस? less than 1. And he said to me, are you saying with certainty that all these other possibilities that could have happened but did not happen are absolutely impossible? कि ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता? These were all possibilities, correct? But did not happen. They could have happened but did not happen. And when I put it back in perspective, जब ये number line पे वापस perspective पे डाला, then I saw that actually blindness is not so bad, because I still can climb trees, I can climb mountains, I can swim, I can read, I can write, I can play music, I can drive. People won't let me drive, but I can drive. So there was really nothing that I couldn't do, right? I just had to learn to do it differently, that's all. 19 years later today, there is a possibility, there is something called the bionic eye. I can get a surgery and get my sight back. मैं एक सर्जरी करके मेरे आंखें वापस आ सकती है. आज वो पॉसिबिलिटी है. तो how many of you think I should get my sight back? All of you. All of you. Interesting. See, this is a very, very important question for me, because this is something I wonder to myself. So what is it? What is it that I will be able to do as a sighted person that I can't do as a blind person?
You can drive.
I still can drive. Of course I can drive.
Let you drive.
That's people's problem, not mine.
Now people explain to you, how is the view, so then you will be able to see it yourself.
Okay, interesting. You said you want me to. So as a woman in this country, are you discriminated?
And say yes.
You're oppressed? Speak for women in this country.
Yes.
You're oppressed? You don't have equal opportunities? So your gender, so your gender is a hidden disability?
Yes.
You can get a surgery done tomorrow. Would you want to?
No.
Why not?
I think now I get it, what you're trying to say.
That's how it is. That this is who I am. Beautiful the way I am. तो जो हमें बाहरी दुनिया नजर आती है, जो हमारी रियलिटी है, वो रियलिटी हम खुद अंदर क्रिएट करते हैं. जो हमारा इंटरनल कॉन्स्ट्रक्ट होता है, वैसी ही हमको दुनिया दिखाई देती है. That is how we create our realities. Is reality the same for everybody in this room?
No.
It's not. So then the question is, what is really real? What makes it real is how you construct the world inside. I would never tell them don't do it. But I will also ask myself, how can I create enabling environments, enabling infrastructure, enabling society, a more empathetic society that respects them, that gives them equal opportunity, that creates equal access, so that the blindness doesn't become the handicap. That is what I will ask myself, that I can give him $1 million or $2 million for his surgery, but in those $2 million, I can create infrastructure that will be helpful to thousands and lakhs of people. I can create books, I can make education equal, so that he doesn't have to bring his disability as an excuse at all. So I will always ask myself, what can I do to enable? And of course, if they want to, they are free to, of course, why not? Who am I to stop them?
So just taking up from there, Divyanshu, I think that's a more practical question for us. That apart from the obvious access and equal opportunity, what do you think we could do more to enable people who have different
Wonderful. Yeah.
capabilities and different limitations?
Right. So that's a very, very, very amazing question, because what needs to change is attitudes. The biggest barrier for me are attitudinal barriers. Those are the biggest barriers. And this attitude will change through sensitivity, will change through empathy. If we can build our empathy, if we can see no difference and learn to celebrate these differences rather than fighting about it, that's what will bring about a large change in society. If you're able to change this society to be more accepting, to be more empathetic, to see persons with disability as equals, then my disability has never been a problem and will never be a problem. You always have a choice, always. Either to crib and complain or to do something about it. The thing is, you don't always have a good choice. हम लोग कब upset होते हैं? जब भी हमको good choice चाहिए तभी. You have a bad choice or a worse choice, but you still have a choice, बराबर? You may not have a good choice all the time. So all those who scream, it's not fair, so what are you demanding from the world? Fairness? Correct? And you get upset, demanding fairness from an inherently unfair world. This is like standing under a coconut tree screaming, why don't you give me bananas? And then getting very upset that the coconut tree is not giving you bananas. अरे बाबा वो coconut tree है, वो कभी कभी देगा coconut. Why are you getting so upset asking for bananas from it? So that is precisely how we are. We upset ourselves by demanding fairness from an inherently unfair world.
During all these adventures which you have taken up during your blindness and cycling,
Yeah.
paragliding and all, did you ever give up? And if yes, ever at any point of time? And if yes, then what just made you to rise up? Because that would be more interesting to know.
I just don't quit. If there's something I want bad enough, really bad, I don't quit. I will fail, and I've failed multiple times, and that's okay. So I don't quit. I just keep trying until it happens. Like 7 years it took me to find an instructor. Doesn't matter. I will keep trying. I'll keep knocking. I'll keep doing it. 9 साल पहले मुझे ड्रम सीखना था, तो मैं ड्रम किट लेके आया घर पे, अकूस्टिक. तो मेरे सोसाइटी ने मेरे को नोटिस भेजा, या तो आप रहोगे या तो ड्रम किट. तो आई थॉट आई विल गो एंड गेट अ इलेक्ट्रॉनिक ड्रम किट. तो जब मैं गया तो वो स्टोर में देयर वाज अ यामाहा इलेक्ट्रॉनिक ड्रम किट एंड अ रोलैंड वन, वेरी नाइस ड्रम किट, 3.5 lakhs. उसमें है क्या ऐसा? सेंसर्स है, थोड़े वायर्स है, ये है वो है. 3.5 लाख का क्या है उसमें? बोलता है नो सर, इट इज लाइक दिस. आई सेड आई विल बिल्ड यू वन. अभी उसको बोल तो दिया, आई विल बिल्ड यू वन. When I came home, I'm like, oh God, what have I committed myself to? I didn't know A, B, C of electronics. I don't know a register from a capacitor back then. लेकिन अभी उसको बोला तो कि बना के दिखाएगा तेरे को कम में. Took me 9 years, exactly 9 years to build a professional concert level drum kit from scratch. But I managed to, figured it out. And do you know in how much? 15,000 rupees. So I just don't quit, that's it. If I want it bad enough, don't quit. Even if that means spending the rest of your life doing it, that's okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. No, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so tell us what your talk was about today.
Well, my talk mostly was just sharing my personal story, my personal journey, about what helped me, and just being candid and sharing that, hoping that somebody takes something out of it.
And what was, if there's one takeaway that you would like people to take out of your talk today, what would that be?
Learn to imagine possibilities, challenge beliefs and limiting beliefs, especially limiting beliefs, and yeah, just go do what, just raise the bar and push yourself. I think that if they take that, I would be very happy and make this world a better place.